Okay. Well, hello, my Smooners. Let's see if it is. There's a count here. It's going to show us how many people that are watching right now. We are on 0 watchers. And I don't know if it is. Okay, good. We've got somebody who's joined us. Okay. Let's kind of wait. Let's kind of wait to get a few more people on, and then while Bolanle is getting herself situated, because we're going left, right, right, left, left,
You
right.
know. You know.
Bolanle.
All right.
Let's get a few more people coming in. I wonder if this thing can also ask people, if people who want to maybe say something.
Chat, maybe.
Yeah, if there's a way to do it. But
Comments. I see private chat and I see comments.
there are comments, yes. So some the people can comment, and I think it will show up here. Yeah, live viewer comments show up on StreamYard. This is an example. Okay. So I think people can comment, and then I can have it show up on the screen. This is like people we are new to this. Okay. The viewers are climbing up. We appreciate. Keep coming. We're just going to give a few more minutes. Let's see if we can get to maybe like 5 people or 5 for 4 people, 5 people. Let's give it till 5 after 1 and see if we get
All right.
more people.
All right.
In the meantime, in between time, why don't you go and get yourself something, some nice libations, like if you want.
Oh, well, I'm not on your turf, but hey,
You can join
my own is
me.
coming.
You can
I'm not
join
on
me.
your turf.
You can join me with this
I'm not on
nice,
your turf.
nice glass of Barolo. Okay.
All right. So someone is asking for an updated link. I posted the link you sent to me, the Facebook link. So will you send me a link?
I don't know how that's going to work, because if they scheduled a reminder, it would show up. Let me
Okay. So
see.
maybe someone that doesn't have.
Yeah. So
Someone just
if you
asked for a link and
for
says it's sending them to the page. Shouldn't it be on the page? Shouldn't it be on your Facebook page?
hey, we have someone. Hello, Uzoma.
Hey, Uzoma. Okay, so you get to see the guests, and I
No,
don't.
it's a comment. She just put a comment.
Okay. All right, so you get to see that.
You don't see it.
I don't see anything because I'm on StreamYard. I'm not on Facebook.
This is not Facebook. I've added her
Okay, I
comment.
can see that now. All right.
Oh, looking gorgeous. Yes, yes, yes. We like to look gorgeous. Thank you, love.
Please, I beg. Who is the owner of the Looking Gorgeous? I
Please.
hope that's for me.
Uzoma, grab yourself something to drink, honey. Join us.
Yeah.
Join us. Um. So let's see. I will send. Oh, good. The numbers are coming up. The numbers are coming up, and we really appreciate it. So thank you for joining, being Mrs. S. Of course, I'm your girl, Mrs. S. And today we have Bolanle Makonju in the house.
Yeah, in my house.
So,
Yeah.
oh, hello, hello. Wow, we have Inejeni's Corner. Oh my God, and she's joining us from YouTube. Oh, Zama, thank you. Yes, it's good that you have something by the side. We like
Uzoma, I
it. We
trust
like
you. I
it.
trust you, Uzoma. I
We
trust you on
like
that
it.
one.
We like it.
All
Thank you.
right.
Hi, Jenny. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so let me introduce my guest to you. Her name is Bolanle Makonju. She's the founder of Scarlet2Snow Ministries. It's an outreach-based organization in Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. Um, when I posted when I scheduled this live stream, I did put a little bit of a bio on her. And what I'm gonna do is throw it to her so that she can go ahead and give us the A to Z about her, and then we'll get into the topic of the day. So get into it. Get into it.
All right. Thank you, Adeze. First of all, thank you for inviting. Thank you very much for the honor, Mrs. S. So my name is Bolanle Makonjo. And yes, I like better things. And so, yes, I'm the founder and director of Scarlet2Snow Ministries, an outreach-based organization out of Lagos, Nigeria, not just in Lagos, but out of Lagos, Nigeria. So we have several outreaches to victims of prostitution, to women, and we're just sharing the gospel, sharing life, sharing love, and loads of laughter along the way. Yeah, so that's the short form, A to Z.
Okay, I don't know if this one is modesty or I'm not sure what she's doing. So I'm going to go ahead and read the bio because I thought she was going to give us a little bit more.
Long story, Abby.
Her Rahabs Redemption outreach to victims of sex trafficking has been pivotal in rehabilitating the lives of many young women and men. She ministers in Nigeria and internationally. She's sharing freedom, joy, spiritual transformation, and wholeness. That's what she brings to it. Her ministry is characterized by humility, transparency, and you're going to find that she's very humorous.
We try.
And she's an active member of the United Nations Committee on the Status of Women. Bolanle is also a member of the international networks of those working with people coming out of prostitution. She advocates for faith leaders to speak out against gender-based violence. She was hosted by former U.S. President Jimmy Carter at the Carter Center's Human Rights Defenders Forum, and this was done in Accra as well as in Atlanta, Georgia. So today we're going to talk about do you tend to dwell on your flaws instead of celebrating your strengths? We're going to dive into, navigate through the intricacies of self-worth, self-doubt, competition, especially amongst women, and self-assuredness. So let's get into the topic of the day. Bolanle, what before getting right into the topic of the day, since
Yeah.
we know that your ministry is involves trying to help people who've been victims of self traffic of sex trafficking, human trafficking,
Amongst other things, yeah.
amongst other things, prostitution, all those things, and in order to a lot of people believe if for you to be somehow pulled into this life, there's a lot of self-doubt and you not worrying about your flaws and things like that. And a lot of the women that you've helped who have been in this situation, do you see them faced with this particular dilemma?
Yes, yes. A lot of the women we've worked with, and a lot of women or people generally, because we're all evolving really. So we find this always rearing its ugly head every now and again, just these voices of can I, will I, should I, these voices that try and stifle our voices. So it's not just the victims of prostitution, but along the way, along life, we do encounter having to also especially deal with these issues.
Okay. And then with people who have these issues when they tend to sit down in that mix of I'm not worthy, I haven't accomplished anything, woe is me. What type of advice or what kind of conversations do you have with people who are faced with that?
All right, because I'm coming from the faith-based angle. And there's a story I really like. It's in 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. It's the story of Naaman. And so we're first of all told, we're introduced to Naaman in 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. And that's how God sees us, So Naaman was first of all introduced to us as He was a really good man. He was a commander of the army of the king of Aram. So he had a position, he had a place, he had a purpose, if you like. And, so, but he was also, the NIV translation says, in the sight of his master, he was a great man and he was highly regarded. He was highly regarded. And with all this, but he had a leprosy. And so everyone has a strength, everyone has something, but sometimes we find ourselves having gone through all that life throws at you, you find yourself hiding because of what you think is your leprosy. So Naaman was a mighty man of valor. If I can bring it down, he was a mighty man. He had won several battles. He had helped the king of Aram win several victories, but he had a leprosy. And we all have a leprosy. We all have something that needs intervention, that needs help, that needs counseling, that needs support. We all have a leprosy. But instead of focusing on our leprosy, focus on your strengths. Now, look at who Naaman was. He was a great man. He helped the king of Aram win several battles. He was instrumental to several victories. Now, all of us have that leprosy, but we're not going to focus on that. Think about the victories you have won, or the victories you have been pivotal to helping other people to win, the roles you have played in the lives of people. I mean, everyone brings something to the table. Know your strength, know your worth, know your value, know your ginger, know who you are,
Ginger.
and don't let anybody come and banjo you, sell you for cheap, because everyone has a victory they bring to the table. This guy was connected. He was wealthy. He was, because the story says he went into the king, he was told about this intervention for his leprosy. I mean, help is available, but we're not going to go there right now. So he had a leprosy. And in the ancient times, leprosy was leprosy. He would be annihilated, and nobody wants to come near him, and nobody wants to, he was kind of like an abomination. But there was a solution. And so he went to the king to say, look, I found a solution. I need to go there. And the king says, oh, by all means, go and find help. Go and get the help that you need. Go to therapy. Go and see a doctor. Go and get counseling. Go and get the help that you need. And so, first of all, this guy had access. He had influence. He had the right kind of support. He had the right kind of people. So clearly, this king saw his strength and his value and was willing to let him go for a while to go and heal, to let him recover. So we all have a leprosy. Don't hide it, but don't maximize it. Don't magnify it. Don't elevate it above your strength, because you bring a victory to the table, girl. You bring a victory to the table. There is something that you are so blessed to do, that you do it effortlessly, you do it easily, you ride, this is what you were born to do. Naaman was a mighty man. He won battles for the king of Aram. He was bringing in victory back to back, hits after hits of victory. So when he had a leprosy, by all means, the king said, go and treat yourself, because we need you. We need you. So first of all, we're introduced to this guy for his strengths, his victories, what he brings to the table. All of that was itemized, especially in the NIV, in the Message translation. Really awesome. The way the guy was introduced to us, you want to meet him, you want to know him, you want to connect with him, because it's his strengths that are elevated, not just the flaws. Don't do that, and don't let anybody do that to you. Naaman was celebrated, but he didn't let anybody wuru him.
Not
He
wuru
went, he did not let anybody do him anyhow. Do him anyhow. Don't let anybody do you anyhow, because regardless of your leprosy, you have victories that you bring to the table. Major victories that you bring to the table, and only you can bring it.
Okay,
Only
so
you
now
can bring
let's
those
let's
victories. Yeah.
let's pull back from Naaman and now make it real life experiences. You, me, the next person,
Yeah.
and we're gonna talk about a woman, for instance, who is single. Okay,
Yeah.
she's a lot, you know, progressed in the years.
All
She's
right.
single. All her friends are married. All her friends are maybe established. They're doing
Mm.
things. They're working hard. They're running businesses. They're doing this. They're doing this. They're doing this. And she has decided to minimize herself. She has decided to put herself in a cocoon. She doesn't want to go out. She doesn't want to, meet up with friends. She doesn't want to be in social gatherings because to her, she has not accomplished, because to her she has not reached her full potential. So because I haven't reached my full potential, why should I be out in the places? Okay, what do you say to a person like that?
All right. Nobody, Adeze, that I must go to streets, I must go to streets. So we have a Yoruba proverb that says you cannot sell yourself for cheap and buy yourself expensive.
I
Hey,
don't
girl,
understand.
I'll take you. You cannot sell your family or yourself for cheap and buy yourself back for great value. This victory mindset starts with you. You have to focus on you have to see the things you bring to the table. I can't say that enough. Focus on your victories. Surround yourself with people who see your victories, who encourage your victories. We always have a tendency to beat ourselves up when we fall. But whatever you bring to the table, celebrate that. Whatever your strengths are, celebrate that. I mean, Adeze, I've known you for over 30 years or something. I mean, almost 40 years.
Girl,
And
what's wrong with you?
no, not 40 years. I beg. Before you come and start, you people are our aunties. But I've known you for a while, and I know that you're a great cheerleader. You bring ginger to you're a great friend. You bring encouragement to every table. I can count on you to, Bolanle, you need to do this. Bolanle, where are you? You need to do this. Why should you not draw near people? I mean, why wouldn't I be on this live call with you? I know what you're bringing to the table, girl. And that is you bring some flavor. I know that this is an encourager. This is a blesser. This is someone that is not going to put you down or tear you apart. Gravitate towards those things. Celebrate yourself and make sure that you're surrounded by people who celebrate you. I had an issue once where somebody said to me, I started speaking Yoruba as an adult, and I really am fascinated by it. And of course, it's who I am. So when I find somebody that understands small Yoruba, see how I entered now. When I see somebody that understands a little bit, I'm always winding it into my sentences. But I know that I speak good English. And so I remember this day I was having a conversation with somebody who said, "You are Raz Sha. Why must you always speak Yoruba? Yeah, so that's really local of you. Why can't you just
for our American viewers, please explain Raz. What is Raz?
ratchet?
Ratchet.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
baby.
you're ghetto.
Hey.
Like, hey, girl. All right, for our global viewers, like, girl, why are you so ghetto? Why must you always put your language? And I'm like, hey, that is a skill. What I just did, girl, that's a skill. And I celebrate the fact that I have that skill. I'm able to switch. That is a victory. I bring that to the table and I bring it neat. So know what you bring to the table and don't let anybody come and discount you or sell you as clearance goods.
Not
Know what
clearance.
hey, don't let that happen. So 50% or everything must go. Don't let anybody do that to you. Know what you bring to the table and don't allow people to discount. So unplug yourself from those sort of situations where you are oppressed, where you are constantly being put down. So if you're in a place where you're feeling you haven't achieved, who are you? Who is measuring? Who is in charge of the meter? Who's counting? Don't let anyone do that to you. But more importantly, you must not do that to yourself. You must dwell on your victory. Celebrate yourself. Affirm yourself. Oh, when you do something like, girl, I did that. I did that. Sometimes talk to yourself in the mirror, encourage yourself when you're looking good, tell yourself that I tried to do. I try. Bolanle, you try. Okay, now, no matter how little they are, little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Celebrate yourself. Let it be. We're told about Naaman. He was highly regarded. He was highly regarded by the king. So his victory was celebrated. It was regarded. He was not discounted. Celebrate yourself and be around people who encourage you, who celebrate you, who see your strengths, and not people who just commonize you and make you feel like you're nothing. And so when you constantly get that, when you do that to yourself, when you're around people who act like they've accomplished much, we all have accomplishments. We all have accomplishments, and I'm not competing with you. I'll celebrate yours, but girl, you better celebrate mine. So I'm not competing with you, but we can all, the sky is, I'm going street again, right? The sky is wide enough for all the birds to fly. The ocean is big enough for all the fish to swim. Bring your victories to the table. Let's all bring our victories to the table. And that's what makes life sweet. It's the things we go through and the things we overcome. That's what makes this life sweet. But it's not a competition. It must not be a race. So if you're feeling like that, unplug yourself from people who do that to you. Unplug yourself from thoughts that do that to you, and just refuse to allow yourself to believe the lie. It's a lie. So remember, 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1 could have told us Naaman had a leprosy, but he had victories. Naaman had a leprosy, but he was highly regarded. No, we were told Naaman was Naaman was a really good guy. He was really victorious. He won victories not just for himself, but for a whole nation. He was valuable. He was highly regarded, but he had a leprosy. So you see, it's the order. Celebrate yourself first and make sure you gravitate towards people who celebrate you. And then we can deal with the leprosy later. Because, what we see from that story was Naaman got help for his leprosy. He didn't discount or trivialize the fact that there was a leprosy, but it was not what defined him. Don't let whatever your leprosy may be, don't allow it to define you.
Okay, very good. So you're using leprosy to...
I'm using leprosy as a metaphor for your flaws. Yeah, exactly. For flaws. Yeah.
Because before people say leprosy,
somebody can just log in now and think, what's going on here? Leprosy as how? As how?
We're dealing with COVID.
No. We're talking about 2 Kings chapter 5. Exactly. Naaman. So some stories, I remember the book of Bible stories when I was small, it called him Naaman the leper. The Bible never did that. That's human tendency. For people to call you the woman with the issue of blood, this person's wahala is too much. If people do that, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. The Bible never calls him Naaman the leper. We were first introduced to him by his strengths.
Very good. Okay, I will invite people in if they have questions or some opinions they want to share at some moments. But for now, let's carry on. So carrying on with the theme, or carrying on with the issues about maybe people who feel like they haven't accomplished, they're not there yet. And your message to them is, excuse me, find something within yourself.
Because you're there.
Yes.
You are there. If you're still alive, you're still breathing, you are there. You're just not paying attention to your victories. You're there.
Okay.
You're there, yeah.
What about those people who just refuse to see their great, strengths? What about people who, no matter what you have called, you have told them, listen, you're great, come out, let people see you, this and the other. Because I personally think, and I personally believe, that there are people who are out there. I'm going to tell the story, and I think I talked about it on the podcast a few, maybe last year or so. I had a friend, somebody I knew, who was always on Facebook. She loved her some Facebook. And she'll stay on Facebook, going from one person's page to another page to another page to another page. She would never comment, no like, no share. But if you call her today and say, what happened to this person, she has already given you the person's lowdown. Okay? And part of doing that was just for her to either, one, make herself feel better that somebody's life is not as grand as hers,
Mm-hmm.
or make herself feel sad because the same reason somebody's life is appears to be
Appears.
grander than hers,
Mm-hmm.
and always frustrated, and then one day
Mm-hmm.
she now shut her Facebook profile down, and I said, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen you on Facebook, what's going on? All these people who are married and celebrating themselves, what is it, this and other? I was like, how does that affect you? I don't understand. Why is that a
Mm-hmm.
problem for you? Why is she's not interested? I don't want to see that. What is it? I said, so to me, I was like, wait, hold on. The name of the app is Facebook. It's Facebook. The app is there for you to show your face. Your and are you going to put your worst face? Are you going to put your ugly face? You will put your happy face. You will present yourself the
Or don't
way.
beef those who are doing it. I mean, hey,
That's how you're going to present yourself. So I
if you,
don't understand
yeah,
why that was a
yeah,
problem for her. So for
yeah.
somebody like that, how do you talk to that person? How do you tell the person you're focusing on the wrong thing? Or do
All
you
right.
even go? Do you even go to them in that manner? Do you go to them saying, "Not cool"?
All right. There's a first of all, some of us, in my several years of ministry, I realized I went through a phase where I had a savior complex. I just thought I could fix everything. I could pray, help the person to pray it away. I could convince someone, why can't you see it? Don't you know God can do it? But this thing doesn't work like that. Some of us have dealt with our leprosies or are still dealing with some leprosies. We're walking through seasons of all these different layers that we're peeling off, and everyone must go through their process. Everyone, even our Savior Jesus went through his process. And at the risk of sounding on the other side, you did not cause anybody's leprosy. You are not the souvenir sharer of the leprosy. So yes, so we can help, but we can't save. You can help, but you can save. Of course, I'm a big prayer. Before I talk to someone, I pray about it. Before I share my mind with someone, I pray about it. God, can I do this? Should I do this? So there are people that I carry a burden for. I pray about it, and I do trust the efficacy of prayers. I do believe that when we pray, God hears. Now, sometimes God may not, that's why I talked about a savior complex. God doesn't have to use me to answer the prayers. God just needs to answer the prayers. He doesn't have to make me part of the process. He doesn't have to use me to speak to the person. One thing that prayer does for you when you pray is that you learn to let go. You learn to let go and let God choose how he's going to heal this person, how he's going to work it out for this person, send people into their circle that will surround them, encourage them, and build them up. So sometimes you have a tendency to get frustrated with the results you're seeing. Like, why can't you see this? Why can't you pray? Prayer always works, not always in the way that we want it to, but it always works. You need to believe that your prayer of faith, the Bible says the prayer of faith will heal the sick. So anyone who has a leprosy, as Christians, as believers that we are, pray first of all. And then when you pray, you will know how to reach this person. Sometimes it's not you. Very often it's not you. You can't always have the right words. You can't, because sometimes you can get so frustrated that you fight with the person. Can you not see? You cannot see, and then do you realize that you see the person's victories, but they don't see it? And then you're getting frustrated, like, how can you say you're not doing well? Look at all that you've been able to do. See all that you've accomplished, and they don't see it. You can't force them to see it, or you can't fight them because you did not cause the leprosy, number one. Number two, you can help, but you cannot save. So that's very important, to help, pray for them, encourage them, do it from afar sometimes, because while you're trying to help them, you may be drained, but it's important that you know the limits of the help that you can bring to the table.
And so, okay, I'm seeing a few comments here. People are saying they can't hear me.
Thank God it's you they cannot hear.
My voice is not so much the
Speak up,
important.
I beg,
Okay,
upgrade,
so
increase the volume of this your phone.
so, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. Please, I don't know, send a thumbs up or whatever, or do one. If you cannot hear me, do two. But I'm gonna try to speak into the microphone. Microphone check 1 2 3. All right,
1 2 1
1 2
2.
1 2. Okay, so all right, so you're telling people there's not much you can do if you don't see within yourself that.
No, you of course. I mean,
Mhm.
when you if you have someone in your circle, you be the constant encourager. Words are like a mighty, like little drops of water. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. No matter what, refuse to sow seeds of discouragement. I've always made up my mind. I will not be that person. Sometimes somebody may come and tell you something, and you yourself may not even be sure whether you believe it or you believe in them, but I will not be that person because I know the times that I needed encouragement. Sometimes you have had to go through your own leprosy for you to become compassionate. I know the times that I needed encouragement and I needed a word. So you always be that person. Bring your light, bring your help, but know your limits. Bring your light, bring your help, but know your limits, because sometimes, Adeze, this can be a little dicey. Sometimes while you're trying to save someone from drowning, you can drown too.
I don't want to drown.
See me see trouble. This you know what? So so you need to be careful.
I don't want to drown because to me, and I'm happy you brought that point because there's only so much you can do.
There's so much you can do.
I
Yeah.
my personality is one of all I want is smiles, chair all the time. I'm very very awkward in sad situations. I'm very awkward in bad situations. I want to remove myself from that. That's who I am. That's who I've always been. However, okay, you have flaws. Everybody does. I don't think there's anybody in this world
That
who's
doesn't have
perfect,
leprosy.
right? I don't have leprosy. Okay, I
Yeah.
don't have. Me, I
That's
don't
a
have leprosy.
metaphor,
I
Daisy.
don't like.
Nobody
I
said.
don't want leprosy metaphor. No kwa metaphor. But what I'm saying is
Okay.
everybody has flaws, right?
Okay.
Everybody has the
Okay.
metaphor of leprosy. Okay, so what do
Okay.
you do? I mean, I don't think the message here is to ignore your flaws or no or don't
Absolutely.
work on those flaws. The message to me should
Absolutely.
be just because you have flaws doesn't mean that there's nothing you bring to the table. But
Absolutely.
just as much as you bring something to the table, work on your flaws, right?
Absolutely.
If there's such a problem for you that they make you shrink, if there's such a problem for you that they make you shy away from the world, my sister,
No, Adeze,
you know, do you
I
will you now find time to work on those flaws?
uh now the flaws are not always flaws you can work on. It's not all the time that it's that. So sometimes you have to go through a healing. It has to take its natural course. You have to grow through it, cry through it,
How
rebuild your
how
ruins
how
through
do
it.
you do that? How do you do that? Do you just sit down and just think magic life? It happens, or do you
Every,
apply yourself?
you do apply yourself, but everyone's road is different, everyone's process is different. And so, but it's important that you're on the road to recovery and you acknowledge that. So, I mean, again, I go back to the surround yourself with people that build you up and not tear you down. And like I just always say, like I learned as well from my quote unquote many leprosies, like we all have had, many metaphors of leprosy, like Adeze says, don't call it leprosy, many metaphors of that, or flaws, let's just call it. And I don't just want to call them flaws, because flaws or, trials, troubles, challenges, whatever they are, you go through the process, you grow through the process, but you also have to keep telling yourself you will come out of this. You will come out of this. You've come out of several more before this. You may not know the hows, the whys, or the whens, but connect yourself with people of faith, with people who believe in you. And I say to people, if it's one person and if it's nobody you believe, you become the one that believes in yourself. Don't normalize being disrespected or being put down. Don't let it become a joke or become somebody's normal. Don't make it your normal. Don't accept it. Don't make a joke about it. Don't make light about it. I'm going through my process. It's not your joke. So grow through it, go through it, and continue to encourage yourself that this too shall pass. You've come through many leprosies in the past, and you'll come through this.
Okay, for those of you joining, if you have absolutely, Uzama, that is right. Yes, choose yourself.
Choose
I'm
yourself. That's it. Choose yourself.
I'm a big proponent of self-love, self-care. Okay? I think every now and then you should take time for yourself to regroup,
Mm-hmm.
recover. I also believe that you are a powder keg if you allow things to fester. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody does something to you, you don't broach the topic, you don't say, "Oh boy,
Absolutely.
check yourself, this is what you did, I don't appreciate." You keep it within. You
Mm-hmm.
don't do anything about it. You don't talk to the person who did whatever it is that they did to you. You don't address it. Things keep happening, 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 and then one day you lash out, and you don't even lash out to the person who may have hurt you. You take it out on somebody else. And I find that a lot of people are in that space. Speak on this.
That's a completely different set of issues.
Mm.
And
Is it
yeah,
leprosy?
it's a different type of leprosy.
Okay. Leprosy of the
See,
plant.
it's a different type of leprosy because you're dealing with a different set of issues. And I would say, the way that I deal, don't even get involved in when you say, for instance, all kinds of stuff have been piling up and then the person doesn't come to you with it, goes to somebody else. That's no longer your business. You're no longer responsible for their tatafulness.
Not
Somebody wants to be
tatafo.
tata, if somebody wants to be tatafoing on you, that's their job, that's their hobby, that's their time. And you're not going to make that your business because, of course, you have to pay attention to your mental health, pay attention to your space, address it if you have the energy for it, of course. So, know your limits, choose your battles. Do I have the energy for this battle right now? Or do I just want to walk away from this and allow this person to recover and then we can operate at a working frequency? Do I want to do that? Or do I invest my energy? Because at the end of the day, Adeze, your emotions, your time is a very valuable currency. It's a very valuable currency. If you're getting emotional with someone who is not getting it, you are wasting valuable currency. So sometimes let it go. You will come back later. You'll be okay later. But now,
So when you
leave it.
let me jump into that. When you say let it
Yeah.
go, what do you mean? Are you saying don't address it? What are you
Well,
saying?
that's that, like I said, every issue is different. You determine if you have energy for this, right? And pick your battles. If you're in Lagos, Nigeria now, where you first of all pay for diesel, look for fuel, enter serious
That
traffic,
that diesel fuel issue is everywhere in the
come
world
through
right
serious
now.
traffic, deal with somebody will now come and start with one tatafo business. I'm not even operating on this frequency right now. First of all, go and come back. Like you say in the market, go and come back. So determine for your own mental preservation. Determine what you have energy for. Pick your battles. This life now one. It's one
I
life.
absolutely agree with that in the sense that there are people that you're not going to waste your time with. You go to the grocers,
I would.
somebody
Yeah, yeah,
upsets you, you're like, okay, we
yeah.
leave it, we keep it moving. But there are people
Mm.
who are in your lives, people who have been in your life for so long or whatever. Maybe they do something and it's a repeated action. You're doing the same thing over and over again. When do you say to yourself, instead of me allowing this thing to go on forever, when do you say to yourself, I need you to sit down, let me tell you how I'm feeling about this thing that you do over and over and over again? How do
Okay.
you how do you have that conversation?
You see, I would say for myself, for instance, I will say I would first of all pray. Lord, this person is really aggravating me. How do I deal with this? Because when I start to get worked up, it's not a comfortable place to be mentally or spiritually. Something is out of sync, and I need to fix that first with myself and with God. So it's not so much the person. You shouldn't give anyone the power to constantly do that to you. fix it. And so I fix it with myself. Oh, was I cranky at that time? Was I, maybe I was doing menses.
Not
So,
menses.
so
You know what?
maybe I was, so I first of all get introspective and then sort that out, and that's what prayer does. It sort of like calms you down and helps you to see more objectively. And once I do that, then I now decide, do I have energy to deal with this? Can I afford this as a currency? Do I have the time? Is this person ready for this conversation? Now, it doesn't mean that I'm walking away or I'm discarding them. It's just not right now. Not right now. And so protect your mental health. Know what you can afford, and don't stretch yourself, because the more that you do that, we talked about earlier, while you're trying to help someone who's drowning, you can drown too. So the way
Like
that
if
you
you don't know
can,
how to swim.
even if you know how to swim, depending on the weight of what's pulling you down, even if you know how to swim. So don't get into that space. I would say, walk circumspectly, walk prayerfully, but don't let anyone have that much power over you to drag you into their leprosy. Leper your own leprosy personally. I will help you, but I'm not doing a shrebi of this thing with you. Don't let anyone drag you into their space. Don't let anyone do that. Yeah. Protect your space, protect your mental health, protect your life, because this life is one. Don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself.
That's very good. Anybody have a question for Bolanle specifically, or do you just want to share? I see a few people who have joined in. I can bring into the conversation. Fatima,
Okay.
let
Hi,
me.
Fatima.
Fatima Jika, I'm going to add you to the stream and share your thoughts. Okay. Hi, Fatima. Can we hear? Can you? Are you? Oh, you're on mute. Can you unmute your mic? Can you unmute your mic and say something?
Hi, Fatima.
Hello. She has to
Thank you
unmute
for
her mic.
joining this
Yes, thank you
party.
for joining. Thank you for
Joining this
joining.
party, I beg.
Absolutely. Don't let anyone drag you to the wrong space. Fatty, unmute yourself so that we can hear you and share your thoughts, please.
Hi, nice to see you
Hi,
guys.
Fati.
It's
So good
been
to
a
see
long
you.
time.
It
Yeah,
has
yeah,
been
I
a
yeah.
long
know. So
time.
good to see you.
Good to see you, and it's
Welcome,
very
welcome.
encouraging to hear the things you're talking about. There are things that matter. It affects everyone, and how to handle it. People seem to get overwhelmed. They're not
Absolutely.
able to internalize and dissect relationships. Everybody you have to learn how to put people in different buckets.
Yeah.
This is
I like
somebody I
that.
can share my inner soul with. This
Yes.
is somebody that is just an acquaintance. So unless people are able to, when you try too hard to think everyone is the same, you tend to hurt yourself, you get depressed, you
Mm-hmm.
drown in it. So
Oh
I
my God,
think
I appreciate that.
the conversations you're having are things
Absolutely.
that are very, very important and are affecting people every day in their lives. There's so much mental issue pressures that
100%.
yeah, that you're bringing on board. But
Oh my
as
God, I love
Adele
that.
said, that leprosy metaphor is a very interesting one
Then she
too.
doesn't. She said she doesn't want.
Mhm.
She doesn't want leprosy. I
I
beg.
don't want leprosy. I don't
Yeah.
want to drown. I don't want to drown.
Yeah.
You don't want anything
I don't.
negative.
I don't want.
Nah.
Only good life here.
True,
Only
true,
good
true.
life here.
I like that. I
Hmm.
like the way Fatih said, learn to put
Put
people
people in
in.
different boxes. Yeah.
A lot of people need to figure that out. Fatih, thank you so
Mhm.
much for joining us. It's
Thank you,
beautiful
Nice
Fati.
to
Thank you
seeing
so
you
much.
guys.
So
nice
good
Take
to
to
see
see
you.
care.
you.
So good to see
Stay
you.
on, keep listening, but thank you
Yeah.
for
Thank
coming
you.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
in. Okay,
Take
Thank you.
care.
Bolanle,
Bye.
listen from what Fatih has said. Bring it in, bring it home. Let's
All
hear what she said.
right.
It was
All right. All
fantastic.
right. It was fantastic. I like that perspective. Put people in different boxes and don't wear yourself out. That was something that we learned from Jesus. He had different levels of relationships and he revealed to them, he gave people different levels of access. His He was savior to everyone. I mean, he met with people, preached to people. He was a people person, but he had different levels of relationship. When he was going to Gethsemane, he didn't take all the 12 disciples with him. He had 70, he had 12, he had his 3, he had his 1, John, who says the one who was most beloved. Know the different levels of relationship. Don't cast your pearls before swines. So, know what you bring to the table more. At the end of the day, it starts and ends with you. It's a whole circle. Know what you bring to the table. When you know what you bring to the table, you won't let anybody do you anyhow. You already know. I'm not going to be part of this conversation because you're not even in my first box.
Football.
You won't let people do you anyhow. Do you press you like remote control?
What is it?
You won't just let people do that. So because you already know what box this person is in the first place. And because you already know that, you're like, I don't even have your time. This is not a conversation I'm going to have with you because you're not in my top 3. You're not in my Gethsemane with me. I'm not going to get, the Bible tells us in Genesis that the man became one with a woman and they were naked and not ashamed. Now, you can't be naked and not ashamed with everyone. There are friends with whom you can do that. They're friends with who you can get naked, like, these are my flaws, these are my struggles, these are my issues. But they're friends that will make that a hit.
They're friends that you will show your nakedness and they'll say, oh, is that?
And they will put it on. They will put it on blog. They will not just share it with friends. They will carry it to blog. These are the latter days. When it's small waka waka, it's on blog. It's not just.
So these are your stomachies.
This is how you are exactly. So you yourself, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Don't let anybody do you anyhow. So manage your relationships.
So
and when
your true face.
This is your true So it's not everyone you can get naked and not ashamed with. And as women, as middle-aged women, growing women, clarify your purpose. It's not, life is not about eating and drinking anymore. It's about purpose. If this thing is not working for your purpose.
How do we teach our children to know how to put their friends into different buckets as they lack the experience?
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's a fantastic one. Yeah. First of all, you teach your children by example. You treat them, first of all, it all starts with you. It starts with the atmosphere in your home. It starts with treating them with absolute respect. That the way that we were raised, our generation was raised, our parents were demigods. They were not questioned.
Honestly.
They were demigods. Whatever they did, you don't go and question them. And if you even try, if you even have a big mouth, you'll be here because I said so. Oh, why can't I put on the TV? If you are even, that's it. If you even have big mouths and you even ask, the answer will be because I said. We can't do that anymore in this generation because if you don't answer them, they will find the answers from somewhere.
They will say, oh, what
exactly.
Is this? Google.
So we can't afford to raise children like that anymore. Treat them with absolute respect, regardless of their age. So once respect becomes the norm, they understand boundaries. They already know, let children know this is not normal. I had, several times when you have a growing child, I would say to my daughter, this is not normal behavior. Let us first of all establish that. Someone disrespecting you is not normal behavior. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to if somebody doesn't want to be your friend, you don't have to, especially with little children. They don't want to be my friend. Why don't you want to be my friend? It starts from there. If they don't want to be your friend, it's okay. No problem. And you can't even help your child to pepper them. Do you understand? Bolanle, the pepper. Oh, you don't want to be my friend? Okay, let me show them what your child brings to the table. Because everybody, and that was a joke. But your child has her strengths or his strengths. Let them know what their strengths are. That's very important. Continue to speak to them. Continue to encourage them. Give them life examples from your life. The mistakes you've made.
Because that's, I think a lot of parents.
It's very important. Because that when we were growing up, everybody came first in school. Everybody was a stellar child. Everybody, Adeze, you did not do anything bad, and I didn't do anything bad with you.
I did bad.
I didn't do bad. No, me. Adeze, me, I've been born again since GS1. I've been SU. My classmates, I don't know about you people in X. All my classmates can vouch for me. I've been carrying Bible since GSS1.
And
If Even me, I laughed.
It's a lie.
Even me, I laughed.
Imagine the nonsense. And a lot
If
of
not
parents
for
do
God.
that with their kids. That is
Absolutely.
what they do.
Absolutely. And that's a
They
problem. Because you create false standards for your children.
You don't say, look. Let me explain.
I don't
to you.
do past
Once
you.
upon
I've
a
done
time,
this.
Once
Absolutely.
upon a time, I was your age. I experienced these things.
I did this too.
This is what I found out.
Absolutely.
Let me help you.
Be transparent with your children, and then it helps them to connect. That's it.
100%.
Absolutely. So, I mean, let our children know, especially in this world, that, standards, boundaries are always being overstepped. And, a lot of people, because our children are going to school and meeting children with a different set of values. So it's important that you let your child know, first of all, this is not normal. Disrespect is not normal. Treating you anyhow is not normal, and do not accept it. Do not change your values or step down for anybody else. If you have to be your own friend, be content with being your own friend. But you also have to be their friend. You're not going to say, don't be that person's friend, and then you're not willing to, you're always judging the child, And there's some things for our generation we have to learn and unlearn. Sometimes I have to remind myself, but how can you talk to this child like this? Sometimes it's like, how dare you say, I have to now calm down. So I have to, we have to learn and relearn.
What did you say?
You know me now. Sometimes it seems just, sometimes Lagos will enter you. And you don't know when you just become cranky and snappy or something. And then you're just unnecessarily, you just shut down the questions, or you're just mean or a bully, because parents bully their children just because
Why are you a bully?
No, I'm not saying I'm a bully, but we do that. Parents, if you're a Nigerian, you will do it. You will do it because I said so. Put off that TV. Mommy, why should I put it off? How dare you ask me why you should put off the TV? Is it me you're asking? Why should you put off the TV? So, your first response is, you're asking me why you should put off the TV? If I slap you, dear. How can come on, put off that TV. And of course, because of that question, you've gotten aggravated. Put off that TV and go to bed and get out of my face. Before you realize, I beg, you're the one that has an issue, not this child. Why didn't you just explain why?
Oh my God.
Why didn't you just explain that? So that's where the respect comes in. Create an atmosphere that lets your child know these are values, and don't accept less.
I absolutely agree with you, Fatih. We need to learn how to define relationships, know who a colleague is and leave it like that. Learn who an acquaintance is and leave it like that.
Absolutely.
Learn who a friend is. Absolutely. Okay, but you've been friends with someone for 30 years. Does that mean you're friends with the person because you've been friends for 30 years, 40 years?
My dear,
years? What is it?
Let me take you to some Yoruba now. Yoruba people say 20 children cannot be friends together for 20 years. So let it go.
Say it in Igbo and
Afurum afunginaya. Zukwanike. Rest, I beg. So 20 children cannot play together for 20 years. Recognize when the season is over. It doesn't have to be a fight. Understand that this season is over. It's worn out. We're not heading in the same direction. There's a story in the book of Ruth, Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah. Naomi was going back to Bethel because, she had come to Moab and there was a famine. She had lost everything. And there was Ruth and Orpah, very interesting story. And, so Naomi says, I'm going back. I've heard there's bread in Bethel, so I'm going back. But you girls can return to Moab from where you came. Excuse me, QC girls don't have one. From where you came. We don't have one. We do not. So if you hear it from my mouth, it was a blunder. It's not a lack of English. Okay? It's not a lack of English. So don't come on. All right. So Ruth and Orpah, they left with Naomi, and Naomi kept telling them, don't follow me. And it got to a point where Ruth says, no, I'm going to come with you. I'm going to come to Bethel with you. Wherever you go, I will go. Your gods will be my gods. Your people will be my people. And there's a verse that tells us Ruth and Orpah wept, and, they said, I'm going to follow you. Orpah too was crying the cry. Then Naomi now started a story and told, and that Orpah is I was going to say woman rapper, the opposite of woman rapper. That Orpah was thinking. Because Naomi now told both of them, I don't have
What
any
woman
husband
rapper?
for you. And they say, you don't used to interpret streets. You either get it or you move on. They don't used to interpret. Cannot come back to come and start interpreting woman rapper. Do you understand? All right. So Naomi now explained to Ruth and Orpah, I don't have any husbands to give you. I don't have anything to give you. You know, even if I had a son now, he couldn't grow up and marry you. I think Orpah thought the matter that, hey, you mean I'll follow this woman and be manless? So Orpah did the common sense thing and she turned back. The relationship was over. It had outlived his usefulness and she was fine with turning back. Ruth continued the journey. And so it's okay. Once the usefulness of the relationship is over, acknowledge it and go, no bad feelings, no bitterness, let it go. Don't try to force a relationship that has outlived its usefulness. And sometimes it's probably just going through a lull. Let it go. Don't force a relationship that has outlived. Just because we're in school together does not mean we're best. Just because we're best friends in primary school does not mean we're best friends now. We can go different routes. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Let it go. Wàá gbọ́ later, wàá sì gbọ́. Wàá gbọ́
But
last.
honestly, I think a lot of us feel because I've known this person and this person has been in my life for so long, they think that that person has to remain physically be in that in their lives. But the funny thing is, we have so much since we were kids. Do you know how many iterations of us there's been? You know what I mean? We have changed from this person to this person to we've grown, we've
Yeah.
matured, we've gotten more sensible. Okay? So maybe things that
Hopefully.
you unless there's leprosy involved. You know,
Yeah.
things that you used to do before, you're not doing. It's Ecclesiastes? When I was a child,
I thought like
behaved
a
as a
child.
child.
It's not Ecclesiastes.
Yeah?
It was Apostle Paul. It was one of the
When I was
writings in the
this, I
Bible.
was this. When I was this, they're telling you that. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
You leave things for your childish behavior behind. When you're mature, you're mature. And so because of that, you may have friends who have stayed in that bubble. They've been childish and their life has been in this state and they don't want to change. I don't, just because I've known you for 40 years, I can tell you it's not cute. I don't like that. That's not me. It's over. What is it? I can break up with you.
And when I finish breaking up, I can come back later. And if there's no
I
space, it's
don't
okay.
want
I
you to
move on.
come back.
No, it's
Live your
okay.
life.
I can come back. And if there's no space, I move on. It's okay. I mean, allow people to be themselves. You know, it's very important. Allow people to be themselves. Allow them to go through their own process. Everybody's growing and going in a different route. Let people be themselves. Don't force it. And don't, I hate synthetic relationships. Don't force it. If it's not
When you
natural, if
say
it's not
synthetic relationships, what do you mean?
fake.
So that
Synthetic is
is
robbery.
that is
Fake. It's robbery. It's not authentic. So why gather 20 fake people? We can't be naked and not ashamed with each other. I
why do you
can't be
want to be
flawed.
naked? You just want to be
And
naked.
Daisy, I like metaphor. What's wrong with you, this girl now?
You want to show your
Why
nakedness.
do you want to be naked? I mean, I can be myself. I want to be. The older you get, it's important that you can be yourself. And if we have an issue, we can also sort it out. In Yoruba, we say, pour it down and pick it up again, like beans. Let's pour it down. Dale katunsha. Pour it down and let's begin to pick it up. That's okay. I can be myself with you. You can be yourself with me. We can, the tongue and the mouth can fight. It's fine, without any pressure. And so if you cannot do that naturally, then that's the thing. If you're walking on eggshells, if you're afraid of what this person will say, if you cannot do that, that's a synthetic relationship and that's not healthy. If you're constantly on show and constantly having to prove yourself, that's not healthy. Just disconnect. JJ, for your mental health, disconnect.
Okay, don't send private chats. Put the comments out there so that I can post it and people can see. Right. I try not to let my children endure my behavior when I am upset. I just tell them, let me be, because I'm cranky at the moment. Once I'm calm, I now go to them or call them to hear what they want to say. this has helped our relationship. I think that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
that
love it.
is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love it.
Um. So, okay, I have somebody else who wants to join the
Oh,
conversation.
lovely. Come on in.
Let
Come
me,
on in.
Anne, I'm going to add you to the stream. You're going to need to unmute yourself. Bolanle, we've lost you. We've lost you. We've lost your feed. Anne, are you joining or what's going on? Unmute yourself and please share your thoughts. Are we unmuting ourselves or not, Anne? I don't understand what's going on. Okay, maybe she's having technical difficulties. We'll add her back in a bit. Okay. Temi says, totally agree, Bolanle. Sometimes we have to let people
Can't
be and
hear
go
you
through their
anymore.
own process. Sometimes we have to let people go, let people be and go through their own process. I think it's a good idea sometimes, but I think also as a friend to a friend, you need to be in the space where
Can't
you
hear you
can
anymore.
tell your friend, um, did you disconnect your headphone? Okay. That is really odd. We're having technical difficulties with Bolanle, but if you guys can hear Bolanle, can you please give us a thumbs up or something so that she can know that because she's technologically on what's the word? She doesn't know how to use technology. Yeah, I can hear her clearly, but for some reason she can't hear us. So, anybody else have a question for? Good, thank you, Mercy. Can anyone else have a question for Bolanle or yeah, I know. So we can all hear Bolanle, but oh, and she's off the feed. Let's see, maybe she's gone out to come back in. Could barely hear you. I don't know why that is. Her voice is so low. Okay, can you
All right,
can you
I can
you
hear.
okay? Yeah, because
Yeah,
everybody
I'm
could
sorry
hear
about that.
you.
Oh, really? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Yeah. So okay, totally agree with Bolanle. Sometimes we have to let people be and go through their own process.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have a question for
Or a
Bolanle
comment.
or a comment or a comment? So let's go back while we're waiting for the comments and questions to flow through. I think that when we hear about your ministry, I had talked a bit about it. Right now, we have a lot more people on than we did in the beginning. When we hear about your ministry, that was created as an outreach for people who have been in sex trafficking, prostitution, and really involved in things that you really are at your lowest point to kind of
Mm.
consider. In some cases, you it's out of your hands. Somebody, like a lot of these young children, somebody kidnaps them and throws them in that. When you encounter these people, whether it's a young woman or a young man, walk us through or tell us, what that experience has been, what they felt like, just talk about that a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Usually, I mean, it depends on how they come, but a lot of the time we go to the streets and speak to the girls, meet them on the streets, and just try and share, talk to them, sometimes share a word, share a Bible, share their pain, And usually they want to get out of the business. Sometimes depending on how they got in, they want to get out of the business. We've had all kinds of stories, but all kinds of issues. But we have to be involved in rehabilitating them. And so we get them a job. So, I've gone through different stages where we then learned you take them off the streets before you know it, they're back. So you need to get them a job, but you also have to rehabilitate them, especially mentally. They need to see themselves as, somebody who's used to getting paid per hour. You're now getting them a job where they're paid per month. Before you know it, they're back on the streets. And so we had to, pay them, get them off far away from the streets. So if we get someone in Lagos, we can take them to Accra for rehabilitation. So we partnered with homes and shelters in different parts of the country, get them to learn a skill and help them to reintegrate, so help them to get a job and get back into society. So it's a long walk. It's a long process
And I
that we
don't know if
walk.
this is if I don't know if these stats are things that you have at your fingertips, but how many people would you say that you've gotten out? How many of them return? How many of
All
them make
right.
a turn around for and never go back to that?
All right. We do have the stats, but in line with the name and story, we don't share our flaws. We focus only on our victories. We're not seeing them as failures. We see them as a work in progress. So I'm careful about sharing uh, ministry leprosy because when you're reaching out to victims of prostitution, it may not work today. It may not work for 5 6 years, but one day they'll get tired and they'll call you. They recognize the love. Deep calls onto deep. So they'll recognize. So we don't see it as 5 people have failed and, 3 people are saved. Every one of them is a work in progress. So we have had fantastic victories. We have some certain outposts which we go to regularly. We've had, a lot of the time we've gone to places where it was the women we wanted to reach out to. And we've also had success with a lot of men as well. So we have good numbers because God saves his own people and every soul is important. So we try not to get sucked into the numbers game, but we also don't want to see anyone as having failed. So we have had a good number, and the ones that have not worked yet, because we're praying, they will come around. They will. It may not be through us, maybe through another ministry, through another, but they will be saved. So that's how we see it.
That's amazing. I'm not a pastor. I don't know in CDB. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk into the microphone in CD base. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear me better now. But just so you know, Mrs. S is not a pastor.
Oh,
Uh,
but did she ask you if you're a pastor?
no, she's calling me pastor, and I'm not a
Pastor
pastor.
Daisy.
I'm not a
Pastor
pastor. My
Days.
name is Mrs.
Ah.
Mrs. S, and I'm forever newlywed. Okay. This topic was very interesting to me, and I thought that I would have this conversation with Bolanle because I am one of those women who got married very much later in her years. Okay, I had tons of friends who used to say, when are you going to marry? I had friends who used to throw men at me, all the time. I was like, look at me, I'm a fine girl. I don't need you to throw men at me, you know. you know, it wasn't an issue of there weren't the men. It was just the right man hasn't come along. And finally, he showed up, and that's who I'm married to. I love him. My tagline, as you can see, is forever newlywed because I'm like, how sweet it is to be loved by him. And I appreciate it. I celebrate my husband all the time. I'm thankful to have him in my life. And I feel like everybody, and I'm saying this now because when I was single, where a lot of people feel, shrinking violet, let me hide myself. All my mates are married. I'm still single. I didn't see myself that way. I enjoyed my single life. I did what I needed to do. I experienced what I needed to do. Everything I feel like I did was to prepare me for what I was going to experience when I was married. So that when I get married, I'm not looking for something that I didn't do. So when I got married, I'm not looking for I want to be out there. I want to be doing other things. Okay? So this is why this conversation was very important because I do have friends who feel like I'm not where I need to be. I do have friends who feel like, but this person is doing so much better than me, or this person is married, or this person have kids. I don't have kids. I have friends who are like, when are you going to have children? I'm an old woman. God will decide for me. Even though I want plenty children, but that's God's decision, right? So I thought this was a very important topic. And I think people think, I'm talking about single people, married people, divorced people. Everybody has an issue. You say you're single, you get married, you still have an issue. You get married, you get divorced, you get another issue. Everybody has an issue. And I thought this was a very, very important topic. Something that people needed to see to or hear and understand that just because you think you're not where you're supposed to be doesn't mean that you cannot celebrate your strengths. It doesn't mean you cannot celebrate those accomplishments that are important, right?
Awesome, Adeze. Awesome. There's a, how they say there's an app for that.
Oh,
There's a
they have apps
story.
for that.
No. How they say there's an app for that. But there's a story, and this was Jesus in John 7, chapter 2-3. His brothers came to him and said, John chapter 7, verse 2. Soon it was time for the festival of shelters. And Jesus' brothers urged him to go to Judea for the celebration. They said, go where your followers can see your miracles. You can't become famous, a public figure, if you hide like this. If you can do such wonderful things, prove it to the world. For even his brothers didn't believe in him. So where I'm going is, don't let anyone tension you. Guess what Jesus did? I love this move. So Jesus replied, now is not the time for me to go, but you can go anytime. Feel free, you can go anytime, and it will make no difference. The world can't hate you, but it hates me because I accuse it of sin. But he says in verse 8, you go on. I'm not yet ready to go to this festival because my time has not yet come. So Jesus remained in Galilee. His brothers came with motivation of life. Go, you can't be famous in this place. So go to where they can see your miracles. Go to where you can be big. Go to where this can work. This is motivational speaker of life. You can't become famous like this. But who told them that Jesus's assignment or ambition was to become famous? Don't let anybody tension you and make you run their own race or deal with their own insecurities and impose that on you. So, hey, they come up and say, you can't become famous. Nobody will see your miracles. Go where people can see your miracles. Jesus gave it to them hot. And then he remained in Galilee. He refused the tension, unplugged from tension. Don't let anyone tension you. You're not married yet. Your time will come. Guess what? The guy that we're talking to, is he not the most famous person forever and ever? It's about motive. Don't let anybody make you do anything. That's what happens to a lot of young people. Don't let anybody make you run a race that is not your own. Don't let anybody put a tension on you. People can come to you and say, well, you're not married here. Your mates are married. That's their tension. Don't let them give you their own tension. Or somebody will just come and say, your mates are driving this kind of car. Your mates have this kind of house. That is their tension. Don't let them transfer their attention to you. Unplug and remain in Galilee. Jesus did a fantastic job, and I learned that. Don't let anybody unplug from people that are tensioning you, oppressing you, or because at the end of the day, it shows their own motive. And there's a lot of all this aspire to perspire. It looks like motivation. It looks like they mean well, but you need to be careful. Guard your space. Know your purpose. Know your strengths, and don't let anybody come and drag you. I remember I had a friend a few years ago who would, maybe a minister somewhere, and she would come to me like she was encouraging me. You need to open a church. She would not even say, she would say open, like a shop. Like, Bolanle, you need to open a church. You are like this. Open a church now. I will sponsor you. Everything was wrong with that statement. Open a church, sponsor me. Everything was wrong with that. That is her tension. That's not my assignment. It's not my line. It's not it's not where I'm headed. So take your time, run your race. That place that they are tensioning you to go, you will go there and you will take over. There's another story of David. He wanted to take over. He wanted water. He wanted to enter a city, and the city was called Jebus. And he wanted to enter the city. So the people of Jebus now taunted him and said, you can never enter this place. What did David do? He took over the city and named in City of David. That place is Jerusalem today. That's how you reject tension and you run your own race. Because this pressure they are putting on you, you're still coming back to take over, but at God's time. Don't let anyone pressure you. You know, people come up with all kinds, especially in this Africa, people come up with timelines for you. You are getting old or you cannot have children. That argument is no longer valid. It's totally invalid. So it doesn't work anymore. You can have children at 99 in the Bible.
100 years old.
You can have in the Bible, talk less of now that there's all
woman.
kinds of options. You
A
know, so
man.
that argument is no longer valid. Oh, it's too late for you to get married. Says who? You can't do this. Says who? So when you know your strengths, don't allow anybody tension. You unplug from tension and run your race. These were the brothers of Jesus who were pushing him on a road that he was not traveling on. They came to him and said, you can't become famous like, you are doing miracles, you are here. You are anointed like this, you are here. You have this gift, you are still here. Let me carry you out. Let me go and market you. Let me go. No, take your time. It may not be now, it may be later, but take your time. Jesus answered them and said, this is not my assignment. You can continue. You can do this. If your own assignment is to be famous, go ahead with it. But Jesus remained in Galilee. Don't let anyone tension you. You know, I like what you said, Adeze. Your time came. You're enjoying yourself. Because you did not tension yourself unnecessarily. You do whatever you need to do. You live your life and don't let anything define you, or anyone define you, or any leprosy define you. Deal with the issues. You know, help is available. Get help, seek help, acknowledge that there is a problem, fix the problem, but don't let it limit you or wear you out. Don't do that. Accept that there is a problem and reject tension, you know. The older we get, let anybody come and put anything on your head that doesn't concern you.
Yes, because I had to let go of someone I put in my list of number one. I noticed that she was always talking negatively about me and once told me she wished she had my type of husband. She doesn't
Oh,
want to get
wow.
into the details. The
Oh,
only
wow.
thing is I never told her what she did for me to let go.
I wouldn't say that you owe her that information, really, because you have already defined your currency. You don't, you know, if you've unplugged, you've unplugged. Maybe later, you know, I mean, it's a different thing if she asked you, what did I do? Then you can offer her the information, but you really don't want to get into an argument. That's why I said it's a currency. It's not an argument. It's a decision I've made. And so it's not open for negotiation. You're not good for me. You may be good, but you're not good for me. You may be good for other people, but you're not good for my space, my mental health, or my journey. These were the brothers of Jesus. They were his brothers, so they're good, but they were not good for his assignment. And so while they went on, he remained in Galilee. So you don't necessarily owe someone the information if they don't ask you, because it's all part of going back to Egypt. Don't even get into the conversation. Move on, girl. Move on.
Exactly. Run your own race, so our destinies are different.
Mm.
Benny. Benny.
Benny, you got it. Benny, thank you. You got it.
Don't let anyone out timeline. What? Oh,
Put
put
timeline.
timeline for you. Exactly.
Don't let anyone
Um,
do that.
but there are things that do have a timeline, right?
Like what?
Like, well, for one, for women, you know, there. If a woman who wants to have a baby naturally from her own body, there's a timeline on that. There is. It's science. Let's face the facts. So, you know, should you feel the pressure, whether someone is pressuring you or whatever the case may be, should you feel the pressure because you feel because you're a woman, this is something that you're supposed to experience, you're supposed to be in this space? Should you feel the pressure, you know, that biological clock is ticking, what shall I do?
Mm. All right. So, you know, I mean, I'm coming from the position of faith. It's never late. It's never late. You know, so there is the science, there is the fact, and there is the truth. So it's never late. If it's God's will for you, he will bring it to pass. At the end of the day, there are decisions you cannot do anything about, and you have to accept that. Pray about it and let it go. Don't let it ruin your life, ruin your joy, or tension you. You know, it's a different thing for people to tension you, or for you to now go and look for tension and put it upon yourself. Don't because the days go by so fast. Here we are, we're already in July. It was almost like yesterday that it was the 1st of January. The days go by so fast. Don't lose your joy or lose your life or lose your peace because you have expectations from life. There's some things you can do, and there are not some things, there are many things you cannot do anything about. If you can't do anything about it, if you can do something about it, then go ahead. I mean, for instance, the child route, you can adopt, you can do different types of options. If you've said, oh, it has to come this way, then that's your choice to wait on God. And if you've decided to wait on God, then wait. But don't lose your joy while you wait. Don't die before death comes. Don't be a living dead. Enjoy your life on your level. Don't let anybody tell you what enjoyment is. Enjoy your life on your level. Whatever it is you have, use it to enjoy. Chop life, gang. Chop your life where you are. Just, choose to live and not just exist. There are people who are waiting for the next breakthrough to happen before they live. Recently, I mean, this year I thought to myself, especially after the whole COVID experience, we have clothes we haven't worn for years. We have shoes we haven't worn, for shoes that are peeling, or, bags that are peeling because they've been in the wardrobe for years. Why? What occasion are you waiting for? You are the occasion. You are the prize. You deserve to celebrate life every day. Don't wait for somebody else's occasion before you wear your own clothes. Oh, your own clothes. Wear it. Dress up. Because there's something about looking good. It makes you feel good. Well, but because one day, I remind myself and I tell people all the time, we're not going to be here forever. Nobody's coming out of life alive. Nobody's getting out alive. Our prayer is that we live long. Our confession is that we will see our children's children. But there's some things we could do 20 years ago that we can't do anymore now. Enjoy your life. Don't just enjoy, chop life. Don't, if you have things in your wardrobe, and we all have that. I just realized there was a whole section of my wardrobe I hadn't been to in almost like 3 years. I had not even been to it. So I opened it and I was removing cobwebs, removing spiders. It was smelling one kind, my own clothes. So if I come and greet you, if you just see me on the road tying gele, we go shoe and bag. Don't say anything, no. If you see me with gold gele, gold shoe and bag, with full, don't say anything because it's my clothes. Where celebrate life. Don't wait for an occasion. On a Sunday, declare that this is a celebration. Celebrate, declare celebration. Something happened today, make it a celebration. Cook something different, do something different. This life goes by so fast. Adeze, who would have thought? Look, see how old we are. I mean, this is
I'm
what
not
we used to.
old.
No, okay, how young we are, I'm
Spring
sorry.
chicken.
Because, we are the babies of the class. But hey, I mean, I remember when we were young, this was the age that our mothers were, that we thought they were old. And now, you just, before you know it, you allow life pass you by, waiting for the next big thing, waiting, when this happens, I will do this. When this happens, I will do that. Do it now. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone. Live your life now. Leave the things that God can do for God to do. But in the interim, live. Jesus came that we may live. Don't just exist. Live. Don't hide. Don't cower. Don't let anyone overwhelm you. Don't let life overwhelm you. If you need help, find help. Surround yourself with people that celebrate your strengths, not people that elevate your leprosy. But live. We women, go to your wardrobe. I mean, there's church tomorrow for those of us who go to church. Wear that. Wear it. Wear the shoe. In fact, I wore a pair of shoes last week and it had been so buried. I think I haven't worn it in like 6 years, that the heel cap came off, and I thought, I had to apologize to the shoe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I totally neglected you. That's what happened. So please, choose to live. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this was a really good conversation. Let's see. Somebody else said. Well, with regards biological clock ticking, what you can do is to bring down the clock and remove the batteries. Oh,
Girl,
that way it
tell
will
me.
stop ticking. I heard someone
Oh,
said that. Don't put
yeah.
yourself under pressure because of what people are saying or will say. Who biological clock ticking app? My
We help
sister, I don't help nobody.
to help because it's not
Absolutely
exactly
right.
biological what for what clock ticking for what. You want to have children, go and adopt, be a mother to other people's children. Paul said to Timothy, regards to your mother, who's like a mother to me. You can be a mother to other people's children. You can live. You can live. You determine the terms, but in the don't lose your joy or lose your life. Live.
Oh my God, this was amazing. Okay, so we're winding down. Anybody else want to share any comment, questions for Bolanle? We've been on here for an hour and about 25 minutes, and I really appreciate the participation. My Smooners, you've joined the Smooners community. I love it. Bolanle, do you have any your Facebook page you want to share so that people can see it, have access to it? Talk a little. Let's use the last few minutes to talk about your outreach ministry. Any sort of charity work, any type of assistance you need to put boost your outreach ministry and push it forward, and for so everybody can see it. Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a Facebook page? All of those things, share it here so that people who are listening can
Thank
see.
you. Thank you, Adeze. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for the ginger. Thank you for the ginger. Yes, my name is Bolanle Makanjo. I do have a Facebook page. I do have an Instagram page, and that is my
Can you write
leprosy.
everything there so
That is
that
my
people can?
leprosy,
Oh, it's
Adeze.
your leprosy. Oh,
That
sorry.
is my social media, and I am not. But I am getting there. I will. I'm just me on social media. I don't know what it is, but I've done this one. So hey, you will see me. So you will see me. I have a YouTube channel, Bolanle Makanjo on YouTube. I have a Facebook page. I have an Instagram page,
Can you
Bolanle
write? You
Makanjo.
don't know it's. Is that your leprosy? You don't know the actual
I don't have leprosy.
ABC.
I don't have leprosy.
Is
It's the
that you don't
metaphor.
know the actual ABC? Write it there so that people can see it
Oh,
and
where
they
do I
can.
put it though? In the
Just put
chat?
it in the comments, yes, and I'll flash it on the
Okay.
screen.
Okay. This.
Okay, so for those of you who are still watching, can we have some thumbs up if you enjoyed this chat? Thumbs up if you'd like to see more of this. Thank you for joining the Smooners community. I love you. I'm going to bring a lot more to you guys for you guys to see. Let me know what more you want to talk about. I absolutely love this ministry. I like that it's empowering for young women and men, help them out of situations that they never found themselves, they should never have found themselves in, or they were in out of, no fault of their own. Um call me pastor. I'm not a pastor.
Collect it. Just take it. Just take it.
Oh my God, and City Bay, thank you so much.
Just
Let's
take the pastor.
let's
Just take it.
let's have the thumbs up if you like it. We're gonna do a
Oh,
lot more of
thank you. Thank
this.
you, City Bay.
Me and
Thank you
Mrs.
very
S are going to do
much.
a lot more of this. Next live session, please tell us to come with our coffee. I told you now.
Come with a drink. Adeze came with wine. I say, Adeze, don't spoil me.
I said next live session, please tell us to come with our coffee, tea, wine, juice, and I told you, I showed you. Okay, maybe in the post, I will set it up saying bring your drinks. Absolutely, absolutely.
Bring your drinks and small chops. If it's puff puff,
Interesting
bring
conversation.
it.
Totally agree. We should celebrate life always. Celebrate our strengths and weaknesses. Yes, my darling Timmy. Thank you. Life is too damn short. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well done, ladies, and many thanks. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I enjoyed you being here. Ooze, next time I bring you on, you share your story, because we all have stories, and I intend to do more and more of this. I have tons of friends who are amazing. Their life stories are amazing. They inspire. But I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. It was just amazing. And next time, don't worry, I'll put it there. Bring your drink and your hot dog and suya
Suya, no hot dog. I beg. You shouldn't be eating hot dog. It's
snail,
not
pepper
healthy.
snail,
Peppered snail, even suya is not healthy.
giz dodo, whatever it is,
Giz,
I'll put it.
giz. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna let Bolanle have the last few minutes to share her thoughts, and then we close for the day.
All right, so I'm going to close out with this. Help is available, seek help. There's a story, me and Bible now. Elijah, who had done fabulous things, he had brought down the altar of Baal in the Bible in 1 Kings 19, 4 to 14. The story is there. But after doing these phenomenal things, he gets into a place where he wanted to die. He says, I'm not better than my fathers. He was depressed. He wanted to die. And what I take out of that, apart from the fact that we all have a leprosy, is that we all go through moments of, I'm not enough. I can't do this. My life is not working. This is not adding up. We all go through that. Elijah went through that. But, recognize it, acknowledge it, and get help. It's not a betrayal of your faith. It's not a betrayal of Christ to go out there and get professional help. Get counseling, surround yourself with people who can help you. Because guess what happens to Elijah? Immediately, he starts to mumble, I'm the only person left. I'm the only person. There's nobody left, and guess what God did? He was replaced immediately. So you can't function. Acknowledge your limitations and get help. So we're part of a generation where these things are coming out. They're coming into the open. Acknowledge that you're dealing with some kind of depression, some kind of feeling of hurt, and don't surround yourself with people who will tear you down. But it's important that we talk about the fact that if you need therapy, get it. If you need help, get it. Surround yourself with people who will encourage you, because anything less is not normal. Anything that is not making you enjoy your life, celebrate your victories, it's not normal. So, it's important that we choose to live. Go out there, make a decision to do something differently. Live, don't exist, do something differently. And let us know. I mean, let Adeze know, let me know what it is you have decided to do differently. Do something, make a decision. We don't just want to do this. I mean, Adeze and I talked about this before. We don't just want us to have a nice time. I'm a minister. I don't just want you to have a nice time. I want you to make a decision, do something. Let this conversation propel you, ginger you to make a change, make a decision, take a step, take a bold step of faith, unplug from something, but do something. Let this conversation stir you, do something, and do give us feedback on what you have decided to do to live. Do something differently, because this life is one. No, it's one. Chop life so that life will not chop you. My name is Bolanle, and I like better.
That's it. It's a wrap.
That's it.
And I'll circle back. Thank you so much, my Smooners. And next time we have another live stream going on. Same thing, I'll schedule it ahead of time. And you guys make sure set the reminders and join us. This was amazing. Thank you so much. And love you, my Smooners. Bye.